Previously on the Steve Fox career mode. So we're having up to 5 red lights here at China. And it's the lights out and away we go, and Steve's got a mediocre start. Raikkonen got a better start than Steve. But is he going to try and grab the lead into the first corner? He's going to try and go Raikkonen's inside, but is he going to go for the move? Is he going to go for it? Raikkonen's still got the door on the outside. He's still got the door's still open if he wants to take the spot. But Raikkonen stays in the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix. And Steve's going to try and just slot in behind him here. But as you can see, he's going to open the inside Kimi Raikkonen, and that is for the lead of this Chinese Grand Prix. And for the second race in concession, Steve Fox is going to come through and win his second race in Formula 1 despite hitting the wall at the end there. I'm sure he can be proud of that drive, and I'm sure the team are absolutely ecstatic.
Hi, how are you today? The improved package has arrived. We're having it fitted in time for FP1. Have a look at the factory report.
Well then, as you can see, new downforce part fitted to the car for the Russian Grand Prix this weekend. You see it's giving us an increased 1.8% downforce, which should be quite good around the track. And yeah, with the added difficulty, let's see how we get on for the Russian Grand Prix.
Here we are at the fascinating Sochi Autodrom in Russia for what is expected to be a compelling race weekend. Well, it all begins today with practice. A lot of focus is naturally on the drivers, but it's really important for the mechanics to get everything right as well, as one little mistake could cost the team and one of their drivers the race result.
These guys are so meticulous and they train and perfect everything that they do. Without question, they feel the pressure in the same way as the drivers, and they share the responsibility to ensure that the car makes it to the end of the race.
Hey guys, I'm Viper, and welcome back to my Steve Fox career mode. As you see, you joined Steve in practice, as per usual, around the Sochi Autodrom Circuit. I believe that's what it's called. As you can see, the first test that he's obviously doing is, of course, the track customization test, I think it's called. And just like he did in China, he managed to nail it first time, as you can see, as he comes around the final few corners, just going through the lap actually. That he's you're on the medium tyres for this, so obviously he didn't want to go out in the softs. He felt like, well, because the game puts you on the mediums, it would be quite a good idea. So as you can see, he's scoring 545 points, which was quite good. It's actually the maximum amount of points to get the 50 points that you can get. And moving on later into that session, the next test he ended up doing was the qualifying, where he wanted to leave the tyre one till last. And the qualifying one was a bit tricky because of the fact that, obviously because I've turned difficulty up to legend, Steve's found it a lot harder. Well, I myself and also Steve, we both found it quite hard to get through. As you see, he gets them through the first lap, and he easily beats the target, which is obviously 9th place there. And he just about makes it, apologise for the exceeding track limits there, but he just about squeezes through on lap 2. And also on the following laps, the final lap, so lap 3 in this case, he gets through with a couple of attempts to spare. Now, obviously after this, he did go back to the pits and obviously pitted for the lap, and then obviously he went back out on the tyres, as you can see, just come around the last few corners for this tyres, and he nailed it first time. Now we did go back out in practice too, but that was just to get the final few points for the team objectives, which was to do one lap on 2 different setups. But apart from that, I'll hand you back to the commentators who'll give you the results of the practice session and see where Steve is.
Quick look at the classification at the end of the session then. Here are your top 3. Rosberg, a Haas, and Max Verstappen. That's it for practice then. We'll see you again soon.
So as you can no doubt see from the practice results there, you can see Nico Rosberg tops the timesheets with Steve Fox in second by 17 thousandths of a second on the super soft tyres though, I might add. As you can see, the grid kind of varies. So Carlos Sainz there in 4th on the soft tyres. Now you've got Lewis Hamilton, Kimi Raikkonen there 5th and 6th on the medium tyres. But obviously in these practice sessions we're going to see quite a variation of times. As you can see, there's no McLaren-Honda in sight till you get to around the 13th mark, which is where Fernando Alonso is. Obviously it's quite interesting as you go down the field. Now in practice obviously the times vary, and qualifying it seems a bit natural for where everybody usually is. But as you can see, the 2 Saubers finishing off at the bottom, nearly 3 seconds down So not a great start for them, you know, at the Russian Grand Prix here. But yeah, obviously we're going to hand you over to the qualifying. But before we do that, I'm going to hand you over to the agent herself, and she'll give us the qualifying goals for the qualifying of the Russian Grand Prix. So let's now go over to the agent.
Hey, looks like you've got a bit of rivalry going on out there. This is good. Gets people talking about you. Just make sure you outperform them, okay?
Ooh, so this is going to be quite interesting. We've got a new rival, and as you can see, it's the hardest rival the game could have picked for us, which is Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes. But then again, considering that we tied on points with him at the moment after the last race in China, going to be quite interesting to see how we get on against Lewis, because he is quite a hard competitor, not to mention Mercedes is the strongest one. But obviously that's our new rival for the season. Hopefully we can beat Lewis here this weekend, and yeah, now on to the qualifying goals.
Hi, how are you? I'm just passing on your qualifying goals for this weekend.
Right, so as you can no doubt see, for our qualifying goals, we need to finish 7th or higher, we need to beat Romain Grosjean, and most of all, we need to make sure we qualify above Lewis Hamilton. Now that's going to be pretty difficult, the second objective, because obviously we know Lewis Hamilton is a quick driver, he's in the quickest car, the car's quite strong, the chassis is quite good. It's not as good as the Red Bull one, but it's probably one of the strongest cars on the grid, so beating Lewis is going to be our main priority. I think we can easily qualify 7th and beat Romain, but beating Lewis is going to be the hardest objective we've ever been set. So let's see how we get on now at the qualifying for the Russian Grand Prix.
Welcome back to Sochi. We're about to be joining the action down in the pit lane as the cars get ready to embark on their qualifying runs. It always looked like the kind of track that asks an awful lot of the rear tyres, such as the frequency of low-speed exits.
No matter how good a driver is at managing their throttle application to limit rear slip, they can't always overcome a car that's inherently bad at looking after its rear tyres. Here we have a lot of low-speed corner exits, which means a whole load of energy, heat and tyre wear.
So of course you join us in qualifying here at Sochi, and as you can see, Steve's gone out in his first run here in qualifying. Obviously he's on the soft tyres compared to everybody else. Most people decide to go out on the super soft, but Steve, being the optimistic one, thought he could set a pretty decent lap time on the soft tyres. So obviously he didn't have much confidence over the weekend on the softs, but during qualifying he actually came alive a little bit. He actually managed to set a pretty decent lap time. So his first run was 1:39.8, which was 1.1 seconds slower than Valtteri Bottas, who was the fastest car on track. However, later on in the session he did decide to go out on the super soft tyres, and as you can see he's up by nearly 1.2 seconds. And coming around the last line, what's he going to come out? 8th place, but however, he decided to do something a bit odd this time around. He actually went out on a second qualifying because he really wanted to be better than 7th place. You see Sebastian Vettel, who's currently sat on pole. There's only a couple of seconds left, obviously, as you can see. Steve has crossed the line. He's actually gone for another flying lap. And this was actually one of his best ones yet. We're actually going to stay on board for the whole thing. So as you can see, checker flag's waving, and he's already up by a few thousandths per second going into turn 1. Nice and cleanly, just slightly cutting the car, not too much though. But as you can see, he's down on his best time. You see at the top right. He actually goes into 8th gear going around this tight left-hander here. Coming through the next set of corners, as you can see, clips the apex very beautifully, very nice. And going up through the gears, comes at the end of sector 1. He's only a 10th behind Vettel, who's currently sat on pole. Now at this point in time, Lewis Hamilton is currently sat in P7, and he's basically what's stopping us from performing our objective. So if we beat Lewis, we beat our objective for qualifying 7th. Well, whichever way you look at it, we need to beat him. But obviously, in order to beat one objective, we beat both. So it's quite important that Steve nails this lap and he nails his qualifying this time around. But as you can see, opening the DRS for the first of the 2 DRS zones, obviously second of the 2 DRS zones, coming in at the end of sector 2. He's already 3/10 up on his personal best. He's 4/10 back on Sebastian Vettel there in the Ferrari, but he's nailing these last few corners pretty well. This last set of corners here, he did struggle with a bit in practice, but thankfully he's managed to gain some of the time back. You see, cutting the corner only very slightly there, not too much to make it illegal, and he's nearly 5/10 up, nearly half a second up. Coming around the last few corners, obviously this is his last qualifying lap. Where is Steve going to qualify for the Russian Grand Prix? Across the line he comes, And where's it going to put him?
Excellent lap. We're really pleased.
In third place, which is a brilliant qualifying show there, especially with the legend AI, as I'll now hand you over to the commentators.
So qualifying is complete and we're all set for an exciting race tomorrow. Your top 3 are Vettel, Rosberg and a Haas. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow, where we'll be live with all the action. And until then, it's goodbye.
So as you can see then, after that brilliant qualifying session, it is Sebastian Vettel on pole with Nico Rosberg alongside, and 2 tenths behind. Steve Fox doing a brilliant job to get third, ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Kimi Raikkonen there in 5th, with Felipe Massa starting in 6th, and Valtteri Bottas starting 7th. Lewis Hamilton, our championship rival, starting in 8th place. So at the moment, I think we're ahead of him. Obviously we're in 3rd, he's 8th, but obviously we need to keep that pace up to keep ahead of him in the race. You can see Carlos Sainz in 9th place, Max Verstappen there in 10th, our teammate Roman Grosjean in 11th. Danny Kvyat and the other Toros in 12th, so a decent qualifying since this home race. See Jenson Button 13th to both of the Force Indias, 14th and 15th. Next Pascal Wehrlein 16th in the Manor, ahead of Fernando Alonso and Rio Haryanto, with the 2 Renaults and of course the 2 Saubers topping off the back row. So obviously that's been all from qualifying. We've got to go over to our agent now who will give us the race goals, and now obviously we're going to move on to the Russian Grand Prix.
Hey, how are you? I have some information on the race goals you should keep in mind.
So as you can see then on screen, there are race goals. We have to finish the race in 5th place or higher, which is going to be pretty difficult considering, even though we're starting in 3rd, we may just get swamped at the start, you never know. We're beating Roman Grosjean, that's obviously our normal objective anyway. The easiest one there is placing 14th or higher in the championship target, Drivers' Championship, and as you can see, place higher in the race standings than Lewis Hamilton. Going to be a pretty damn hard objective, and yeah, hopefully we can get a good start from 3rd, and let's see what this Russian Grand Prix has in store.
Welcome one and all to the Russian Grand Prix. We're just a stone's throw from the Georgian border here at Sochi as we get ready to begin the race that served up an absolute cracker back in 2015. A last lap collision between Kimi Raikkonen and Valtteri Bottas sparked controversy in that race, so let's hope the racing is just as tight today. Built on the shores of the Black Sea, the Sochi Autodrom is a 3.6-mile tour around some of the venues built for the 2014 Winter Olympic Games. Close barriers may make overtakes more challenging, but with 56% of the lap taken absolutely flat out, we certainly won't be wanting for pure speed. A fitting arena then to do battle at the pinnacle of motorsport. And alongside me to take you through it all is none other than Anthony Davidson. This was a circuit that I think in its inaugural race got off to a bit of a shaky start, but since then it's really drawn the fans in and become a very popular event. What do you think changed?
Well, this just goes to show the importance of fixing problems as and when you discover them. As a complete unknown quantity in 2014, the tyre choice was quite conservative, which didn't really allow much in terms of different strategy options. So it was pretty much as you were from lights to flag. But that was a great learning experience, and we came back the next year and had a really exciting Grand Prix, with battles for the podium going on all the way to the final lap. So hopefully we'll be treated to more of the same this year.
We've qualified above where we expected to be, so try your best to hold on to this position in the race.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Nico Rosberg completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have a Haas, Ricciardo, Kimi Raikkonen, and Massa, Bottas, Hamilton, Sainz, and Max Verstappen, Grosjean, Kvyat, Jenson Button, and Perez, Hülkenberg, Wehrlein, Fernando Alonso, and Rio Haryanto. Magnussen and Palmer, Marcus Ericsson, and Felipe Nasser starts from the back of the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So here we are then, race day here at Sochi for the Russian Grand Prix. And as you can see from the weather forecast, it's cloudy with a bit of sun, so dry race all the way through. I decided to go with the one stop as per usual rather than the two stop, because I didn't think the two stop would be worth it. And I kept it as default. I didn't really edit the strategy in any way. Thought stop on lap 4 obviously, and then go onto the subs, onto the softs. So yeah, just see what we can do from third. Hopefully we can get a good start and see what we can do. But yeah, onto the start of the Russian Grand Prix. So we're revving up to 5 red lights here at Sochi. And it's lights out, and away we go for the Russian Grand Prix, and a cracking start there from Steve. Is he going to try and get past Rosberg? First chance he gets. No, he's not. He's going wheel to wheel with Nico Rosberg in the Mercedes. Getting instantly in the slipstream, Sebastian Vettel. He's moving to the inside line. Going into turn 1, who's going to come out in the lead? And there's been a bit of contact. You see Steve's raised his hand up as if to say, what you doing? And he gets through the first corner near enough unscathed there. And I think that was actually Nico Rosberg's fault from turning in. Obviously, Vettel left us the room on the outside, and on the inside, I think Rosberg just decided to go for it, even though there was no room for a gap there. Obviously, we closed the door because we were taking the inside line. So, but after that lap 1, obviously, we managed to pull a gap out. And on lap 4, we had a bit of a challenge from Ricciardo from behind, as you can see. And unfortunately, there was a bit of contact here, and obviously, you see Ricciardo and Raikkonen actually collided. Raikkonen ended up dropping back, and Ricciardo didn't look like he had any damage at first, but as you see, this tight left-hander here, he actually started to get a lot of understeer, so Steve obviously took the chance. He went, you know what, I'm going to go up his inside, give it a shot. And obviously, as you can see, he got past him back into the lead of the race. But at the end of that lap, we actually went in for our 1 and only pit stop of the race. Now, the AI did an interesting pit strategy. There was myself, Ricciardo, I think Bottas stayed out. Oh no, he's coming in actually, but there was a couple of people that actually came in and went out, obviously. And one of the people, as you'll notice in a minute, and from the, later on during the race, is somebody called Felipe Massa. Yeah, I won't say anything about what's going on right now, but as you can see, we've just come out of the pit stop. A good pit stop, 2.3 seconds, and where we're going to come out, it looks like 5th for the time being, but there's Rio Haryanto behind us. Let's just quick check back, he's miles away, so we've come out between Perez and Haryanto, so ahead of Ricciardo and Bottas, which is quite good. As you can see, as the laps went down, obviously the cars went in. As you can see, Sergio Perez there goes in. Now obviously he was on the super soft at the time, so he was switched onto the soft. Now you can see that Massa's currently in the lead. Now, there was a bit of a weird coincidence with this, because I thought Massa was going to go soft to super soft. But I presume he'd already pitted like the lap before we did, or the lap after he did, after I did. So, but I can't really make my mind up on which what happened. But it turns out, anyway, he kept a good pace at the front. We managed to keep Ricciardo behind. And like I said, the reason why I skipped onto the last lap was because literally we had nothing. There was no action whatsoever, unfortunately. It's going to be Felipe Massa that wins, and for the third race, it's going to be a third podium in a row for Steve Fox here at Sochi.
That was a fantastic drive.
The team are obviously very ecstatic, so I'll now hand you over to the commentators and, of course, the podium.
Brilliant stuff from Williams today. What a superb victory. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
Well, I'd say it's just raw pace, plain and simple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about strategy all day, the overtaking, looking after the tyres, but at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else, and that's exactly what they had today.
And I can see our drivers making their way out now. It's been a sublime team performance, and it's the culmination of a lot of hard work. Williams are your winners today. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. A strong race then for our championship leader. That's extended their advantage at the top of the standings. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
I'm going to go for Marcus Ericsson. He's clearly got a very delicate touch in close proximity to other cars, and he's matured a lot over the past few seasons, which served him well today.
And here's how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. There'll be plenty more twists and turns to come this season. I hope you can join us at the next race to see just who will come out on top.
So as you can see then, after the race results as follows, Felipe Massa ends up winning the race. by 7.3 seconds ahead of Steve Fox, which is ourselves of course. Daniel Ricciardo grabbing the final podium spot in 3rd. Kimi Raikkonen there in 4th. Roman Grosjean, our teammate, finishing 5th, so a brilliant points finish for the team here today. Max Verstappen there in 6th in the other Red Bull. Carlos Sainz 7th in this Toro Rosso. Nico Hulkenberg and Sergio Perez are both Force Indies in the points there. And Danny Kvyat in 10th. And you'll notice, as I go through the field, there's quite a few odd coincidences. Rio Haryanto is 11th, Pascal Wehrlein 13th, so Rio Haryanto actually scored his first ever point in F1. Both Reynolds moved up, and you can see Rosberg, Vettel and Lewis Hamilton all finished out at the points, which is brilliant for us. It's brilliant for the championship because we've now managed to open up our gap to Lewis Hamilton, who's of course in 2nd place. Now, the weird thing is as you can see, they finished 52 seconds down. Personally, I think it's just down to the fact that the first corner incident with Rosberg taking a few people out or something like that. I don't know. You see there 2 retirements being Valtteri Bottas and Jenson Button. Now, when it comes to looking at, of course, the incidents and warnings and so on, I found it rather odd. Now, you'll see it on screen in a minute, but there was quite a few incidents. It were mainly down to lap 1. There was only one for ourselves, which was exceeding track limits, by the way. But the main 2, there was 2 obviously, one for Valtteri Bottas, one for Jenson Button as well. As you can see, just showing them on screen now. But it was Massa and Bottas collided with each other. Ricciardo and Bottas both collided with Rosberg. Vettel and Raikkonen, so 2 Ferrari teammates collided. Hamilton collided with Vettel. Sainz collided with Hamilton. Wehrlein collided with Rosberg. Magnussen collided with Hamilton. Vettel collided with Rosberg. And this was all on lap 1. All these different warnings, and it was just basically both Mercs. Only Raikkonen and maybe Bottas and Massa at the top were the only other ones. See, Jenson Button retired on lap 3 with terminal damage. We exceeded the track limits on lap 3, but apart from that, you see Ricciardo and Raikkonen collided, and Raikkonen came off with a warning. Verstappen collided with Nasser and got warning. Bottas retired on lap 6 with a mechanical failure, and Perez collided with his teammates. Not a great day for, obviously, for the Force India team. And obviously, he got a warning on lap 11 when he did it. But it was a bit of a weird race when I looked at the results afterwards. I'm pretty sure you guys are stumped as well. Like how odd them. There was no Mercedes. There was only one Ferrari in the points. As you can see on the drivers' standings, we're ahead of Lewis Hamilton in the lead by 28 points. That's over a race win. So we could retire in the next race and still be out in the lead by 3 points. If Lewis Hamilton wins, of course. See Rosberg there, 3rd. Ricciardo moves up ahead of Vettel. Massa moves a lot of places up to 6th after that win, onto 35 points. See Raikkonen, Verstappen, Kvyat, Alonso and Bottas all moving down. Our teammate Roman Grosjean is now only a point behind Fernando Alonso and Bottas. He's 12th in the standings. And you've got Hulkenberg, Sainz, Perez, all the point scorers. You see Button down to Nasser have not scored any points whatsoever. Rio Haryanto's moved ahead of Pascal Wehrlein and Marcus Ericsson. You see the 2 Reynolds at the bottom, and obviously Felipe Nasser at the drop dead last. But I don't know how, you guys might have to answer with this one, how the whole, if you don't have points, how they able to move up and down. I don't know. But as you see, moving on to the constructors now, Mercedes are 4 points ahead of us. We've managed to close the gap because obviously Mercedes had a shocking performance. We've managed to close between 4 points with them. Ferrari and Red Bull, the title race between those 2 for 3rd has got ever closer with 2 points separating the 2 of them. Williams there down in 5th, 20 points behind. And you see Toro Rosso there in 6th with only 20. A point separates McLaren and Force India, who are down in 7th and 8th. As you can see, Sauber there, Manor and also Renault have yet to score points. But it's a bit odd really because of the fact that how the results have shaped today. The fact that we've managed to close in 4 points is a brilliant result. And on that crazy sort of bombshell, I'll leave this episode here. Of course, it's been quite an enjoyable episode. Also, the next race is in Spain, where hopefully we can bring a few upgrades with us, 1 or 2 upgrades, fingers crossed. And until next time, I've been Viper Racing. You guys have been awesome. If you're still enjoying the series, make sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe if you're new. And until next time, ta-ra.